Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Amazing Women in E-commerce online event. I'm Ariel Bubb, Marketing Events Manager at Yotpo, and we're so thrilled to celebrate these incredible women in our industry that make up our 2022 class of AWIE Honorees. But before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Shogun, AdRoll, Verbal and Visual, and the Maze Group, whose sponsorship funds were generously donated directly to Girls Inc., an organization we've been supporting since the beginning of the AWIE program. I also want to encourage everyone to share your thoughts on social. We'll be watching. Please use the hashtag Women in Ecom. We hope you'll give the props to the amazing speakers and share their incredible stories so that everyone in our network and connections can see how important it is to celebrate women in our industry. Now, without further ado, I love to introduce the 2022 Amazing Women in E-commerce. Since I know it's sad we're not meeting in real life, to give them a proper round of applause, but please join me in congratulating these incredible women in the chat panel to the right of your screen. This year, we have honorees from all over the world, including Canada, England, Austria, Portugal, and Australia, and a bunch of cities across the US. We also have new categories to celebrate all the different types of women in our industry. We have innovators, leaders, rising stars, and close to our heart here at Yotpo, marketers. We're also so excited to hear from some of these women today and throughout the year as well, because they have so much expertise, advice, insight to share with our AWIE community. We also recommend going on womenineCommerce.com to read through their awesome profiles to learn more. We're so thankful and we welcome them to the AWIE community because this program is so important for our industry. I would love to introduce Chris Donoso, Senior Director of Brand Marketing at Yotpo and Executive Director for Amazing Women in E-commerce, to share more about the mission for this program.
Thank you, Ariel. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us today. For the people joining us for the first time, a backgrounder in AWIE. Amazing Women in E-commerce started as an inkling of an idea from Talia Shani, one of our marketing directors, way back in 2018. She wanted to engage the community in recognizing and celebrating women in e-commerce who impress us on our day-to-day. We're so lucky that Yotpo not only supported the idea, but our company was willing to invest time, resources, and money to let us run with it. We launched AWIE as a nominations campaign later that year, asking people to nominate women who are doing incredible things in e-commerce, and we got such a crazy response from the community. Since then, the program has grown substantially. We're honoring more women than ever, and as Ariel mentioned, we've got AWIEs across the world. But we've also evolved from a nominations campaign to a full-out program for the community. We host online panels like this one that can reach the far corners of the globe with personal stories, advice, and insights from women who are there, doing the work, and rising above. We also send a monthly newsletter with the latest industry and honoree news. And after pausing during the pandemic, I'm really excited to announce that we are finally back to doing in-person events again. We're thrilled about this because personal connections are such a crucial part of our mission. So be on the lookout for a series of fabulous events and community building in Australia, an honoree celebration breakfast at Shop Talk in Vegas, taking place Tuesday, March 29th, and UK and Europe, we're coming to you soon. Another huge addition to the program is our Slack community. It's a great place to connect and network, share news and job listings, learn about exclusive events and workshops, and just have fun. So now, regardless of where you are, you have a place to connect with the community and have those real-time conversations with amazing people. We're also expanding our partnerships. Last year, we partnered with an organization called Women in Innovation, an inspiring group dedicated to creating pathways for all innovative women to have a seat at the table. WIN featured our amazing women on their blog and podcast, but this year, we're taking it a step further. WIN is producing their own awards program, and Yotpo will sponsor their e-commerce innovation category. We'll release details soon, so get those nominations ready. And last but not least, as most of you know, a core part of our mission at AWIE is to help build future leaders of tomorrow by supporting Girls Inc. We're so proud to announce that over the years, thanks to Yotpo, your donations, and support of our AWIE sponsors, we've donated nearly $110,000 so far. To tell you more about our special partnership with Girls Inc., I'd like to pass the mic over to Ruthie Berber, our AWIE Program Director.
Thanks, Chris. My name is Ruthie Berber. I'm the Senior Community Manager here at Yotpo. and Program Director for Amazing Women in E-Commerce. And I am here with Lila Tai, Director of Individual Giving and Corporate Partnerships at Girls Inc. Thank you so much for joining me, Lila.
Thanks, Ruthie. I'm so happy to be here.
So from the beginning, Girls Inc. has been a huge part of Amazing Women in E-Commerce DNA. Every year, Yotpo donates $5 for every AWIE nomination. And for the 2022 call for nominations alone, we were able to raise more than $16,000. To date, we've raised over $100,000 for Girls Inc., all to support the next generation of women leaders. The Girls Inc. mission is so important to us. So Lila, I'm hoping you can tell the community a little bit more about it and your role within the organization.
Thanks, Ruthie. First, let me begin with a thank you for your huge amount of support and your continued partnership. We're so pleased to work with Yotpo. And I think I would like to share with everybody here that I hope everybody watching really knows that the funding and support for Girls Inc. is truly making an impact. I think probably everybody in e-commerce would agree that data is very important. I definitely believe it is. And at Girls Inc., we don't just think the Girls Inc. experience work, we know it. We did a 2-year study with the American Institute of Research about 2 years ago. And I'm really happy to share that Girls Inc. girls outperform their peers in 20 significant impact areas. So that means that compared to their peers, Girls Inc. girls are significantly more likely to be more engaged in school, believe in their ability to do challenging math, reading, science, and believe in their ability to contribute to their community. So all of these things are really important, and again, why we're really grateful for our partnership.
Thank you so much. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs here in the Amazing Women in E-Commerce community. Have any of your girls gone on to start a brand themselves?
We have actually. You know, there are a couple of examples of girls and alumni who have started e-commerce businesses. And I think that we're really opening the doors for more girls to be interested in this in the future. We have entrepreneurs who have started their own consulting firms, some brick and mortar boutiques, even therapy services. One example that I always really like to share is of an alumna who she was actually the chief spokesperson and senior advisor for Vice President Kamala Harris. She was national press secretary for Bernie Sanders. And about a couple weeks ago, it was just announced that she would have her own MSNBC show and actually a second NBC show that's airing on Peacock. So both of those shows are slated to launch later this spring, I believe. So keep an eye out for Simone D. Sanders. She is a Girls Inc. girl from Omaha, and we're really proud of her. And hope to show the world what Girls Inc. girls and alumni are capable of.
Wow, that is a seriously impressive story. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I wanted to ask, what's the #1 celebrity that many of your girls look up to?
Well, I think this is a little bit of a coincidence since this is another kind of political person, or very political person, but I have 2 examples that I hear about often, and one is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's really been a role model for her integrity, for battling sexism, for fighting for women's rights and equal pay. But I also often hear about Michelle Obama, and she's probably the most common role model that Girls and girls identify just because of her extremely active role as a first lady and some of the positive influences that she's made in American culture, you know, her focus on nutrition and exercise in schools, but overall just her confidence and her poise really makes her stand out as a strong woman and someone who's affected change.
I could not agree more. Well, the Girls Inc. motto is to be strong, smart, and bold. And that's a great motto for women in our industry too. And being bold can be a challenge at any age. I'm always trying to be more bold. But what advice can you give to girls to bring that out in their personality?
Well, you know, I'll kind of mention the same thing that I did a couple of minutes ago. We know that Girls Inc. girls are really getting set up for success and they're building their confidence and they're contributing to their communities. But some things that girls, I've heard them, write letters to their younger selves, and the same thing that they say to themselves, I would want to echo. Trust in yourself, pursue your dreams, and know that you can make a change.
That is definitely advice the entire Amazing Women in E-commerce community can benefit from. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me, Lila. It was such an inspiring discussion. And over to you, Ariel. Let's kick off the rest of the event.
Thank you, Wuthi and Layla. And speaking of inspiring, we have an incredible session coming up with AWIE Honorees, Aisha Shatani, the CEO and founder at Moment, and Ashley Scorpio, Senior Vice President of Partnerships at Hawk Media. Throughout the session, don't forget to share your thoughts in the live chat panel to the right of your screen or post to social media. Make sure to tag us at Women in Ecom so we can reshare. Now over to you, Aisha and Ashley.
Thanks, Ariel, and hello, AWIE community. My name is Ashley Scorpio. I am the Senior Vice President of Partnerships at Hawk Media, your outsourced CMO. And with me today is Aisha Chotani, CEO and founder at Moment. Hi, Aisha.
Hi, Ashley. So great to be here and chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. So, as mentioned, you are the founder and CEO of Moment. For anyone who's not aware, Moment is a brand of botanical beverages that replicates the same effect as meditation and mindfulness with all natural ingredients. So if you don't mind, could you please tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a founder?
Yeah, definitely. It has been a very interesting and intense journey, to say the least. I actually used to be a consultant back in the days, working with a lot of large corporates, Fortune 500 companies and likes of those. And I was personally going through a lot of mental health related challenges. And so I tried to, as one of the coping mechanisms, I moved to a lot of healthier habits, including meditation, including healthier food, and including a lot of adaptogens. And I saw the impact it had on my life, but also more importantly, my mental health. It had such a huge impact. It changed who I was as a person. It changed my relationships, and it actually changed my performance at work. And so I set up on this mission to help others do the same. And that is really how Moment came about. Come COVID, I had a moment of reflection where I decided I was going to leave my job and find my own company. So it's been 2 years since then, and it has been a really, really awesome journey. And I'm happy to share more as we get into it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that bit with us. And of course, also basically the mindfulness and practices that you gathered along the way with the broader community of how they can also bring that into their routine and better themselves in their daily lives. So that's exciting too.
Yeah, definitely. And I know one of the things you wanted to share a bit more about was some of the challenges as a founder. And I would say that a couple of really, really big things, which, any founder will say that. So this is not super unique, but for every success, there will be 10 failures in your early days. And the biggest thing is to just not give up. There have been many, many, many times when I have come to the verge of quitting, but I haven't, because you just need to stay strong. And there have been points, when I've had to climb 3 sets of stairs 100 times to store all the Moment cans in my 3-floor walk-up in New York, because we didn't have another option and I was the only one who could do it. Things such as those, and in the middle of the night, right? You just can't give up. You have to continue strong, and that is the fundamental aspect of being an entrepreneur. And secondly, you just have to be open to everything, especially for entrepreneurs who are doing this the first time, as I am. It's my first time at a business, and so in the early days of Moment, I was doing the email marketing. I was doing the operations. I was doing the fundraising. I was doing the end-to-end. Business was just me. And you just have to go in with the mindset of, I'm up for anything. I'm going to learn, and I'm going to enjoy this journey. Because otherwise it's going to get very, very tough. Yeah, those are my two.
It sounds like what you're saying is, one, the path to success is not linear. There might be several staircases in the way along the journey. It also is interesting, and it sounds like too, some of what you're sharing that's very clear is, with women, in particular, when we're talking to the AWIE community here, oftentimes one of the things that seems to be lacking is confidence. I don't know why that is. I'm currently really taking in and internalizing a lot what I'm reading in the confidence code. And it seems like as a founder, you have found that you've broken through that wall that a lot of women hit to push through and to continue to pursue your passion in bringing a new product to market.
That's right. That's 100% right. And I would say that tide is changing. Even in women, they just need a little bit of push. And I'm starting to meet some really, really accomplished women who reach out to me, who I'm reaching out to, and it's coming to become a really thriving community of women-based entrepreneurs, which makes it even more fun on a day-to-day basis. But I agree with that, and we just need to continue supporting one another. And on that note, Ashley, I would love to hear a little bit more about you. So tell us a little bit about your background and your path from politics to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah. It's, again, not a very linear path, as you might say, lots of twists and turns along the way. I'm a Canadian. I've been living here in the States for the past 6 years. So also a little unusual to make the jump from Parliament Hill in Ottawa, Canada, to the private sector in the West Coast of the United States. But I've been here in the agency world for many years now, formerly as the head of partnerships at AWIE Promote, and now the senior vice president of partnerships here at Hawk Media. I really love working with our partners to ensure we are like Yotpo. We have a wonderful partnership with Yotpo, for example, where we ensure we are providing the best in class solutions to our clients. Like Moment. And so it's all about putting these different pieces and weaving them together to hopefully deliver excellent marketing results for our clients. And of course, it seems a little odd to go from, a decade in the political spectrum suddenly into the private sector and what have you. But if you really think about it, one, politics is all about people. So partnerships is not that different from diplomacy and public life. And also, my background is marketing. I'm at a marketing agency because I'm fundamentally a marketer, and I love storytelling, and I love learning about brands and their challenges and what they're hoping to achieve and accomplish. And then thinking about what partners can we weave in to help support, and what marketing tools and channels and levers can we pull to make this work. And so similarly, what I was doing in the public sector was actually not that different. It was just telling a different story, proposing a different platform rather than a product, for example. And, if you can earn people's votes and trust, and hopefully the confidence of your constituents in the public sector, primarily, it seems like it would follow that you might be able to do the same thing in the public sector and get consumers to vote with their dollars, if you will, to support hopefully sustainable, ethical brands that give back and are doing good. So, yeah.
I love it. I love that. It's so inspiring to hear of how you have taken the relevant parts of the experience and evolved and moved to do something that you were truly passionate about. That's really amazing. And I would say storytelling is such a critical part of any and every role in today's world, because it's really how people relate to you and even your brands. So storytelling and sharing your vision with our community is a very, very important part of Moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're building a brand. That is the crux of creating a story and creating an experience and hopefully a lifestyle, right, for your customers and your users. So, we're both obviously pretty well attuned to different trends and shifts in e-commerce, especially as of late, not only through the work you're doing at Moment, but the work that we're doing together. And probably I would say, everyone in AWIE is as well. In your opinion, from where you sit, what would you say are the biggest marketing challenges that brands are facing sort of this year across the board in 2022?
Yeah, I would say your point on storytelling and like broadly communicating is one of the biggest challenges, or I would even say more of an opportunity. And this is nothing new. This has been the case for decades. It's about how you share what you're doing with your community. But in today's environment, which is becoming more and more competitive, and the barriers to entry for starting a business have become somewhat lower, there is a lot more noise in the environment. And so being able to stand out in that noise in an effective way has become really important. And so I feel brands that are able to do it with some in an authentic way are able to relate to their customers, or the customers or the community is able to resonate better with them. And that is that's super critical. I would say the other aspect of marketing that is becoming more and more important is this omni-channel approach. We've heard a lot of talk retail, from retail to D2C, from D2C, we've said, okay, no, retail again. There's been like multiple different shifts. I've lost track of like which is more effective now, but really in our experience, it's being able to be there for the entire consumer journey. And there is so much synergy that comes with being in multiple channels and being available across platforms, that's where you start really expanding and driving brand awareness.
I could not agree more. Throughout this pandemic, it's obviously been one massive pivot after another. And, it maybe perhaps went from brick and mortar and D2C to then primarily D2C to boy piss, buy online, pick up in store, to curbside pickup, to then your point, back to experiences in person, and then back to D2C again. So it's definitely an ever shifting environment, especially in light of current events. The other thing that we've been talking a lot about, at least on the agency side, are the litany of privacy motivated changes that have occurred across, app tracking, transparency, and sort of the impending cookie apocalypse, if you will, that is shaking up a lot of those digital marketing channels. So on our end, we're always working alongside our clients just to ensure that they're prepared. And to your point, that they don't have all their eggs in one basket, that they have an omni-channel, full funnel, multi-threaded approach, so they can obviously shift gears if they need to. If one channel, perhaps paid, isn't performing as well as it used to be because of the way that the degradation in data has affected performance, they can then ramp up their efforts in other areas. In your opinion, from where you sit on the brand side, do you think that these changes across the board are something to be feared?
I wouldn't say that this is something to be feared. I think with every change comes a stream of opportunity. You just have to be open to change and constantly evolving. And we've seen from history that that's the brands and people who survive and thrive are those who can evolve. So I would, to your point, then it becomes really important to have a multi-channel approach within online. Let's not just have Facebook or Instagram. Let's also look at Amazon. There's like multiple other ways to do online affiliate, influencer. And there's also no like approach. A lot of brands will often come to me and be like, where do you get the best ROAS? And there is no cookie cutter approach for what works with one brand versus the other. It's going to be very different based on where your audience lies. So that's like one big aspect. And then to our point, even on the retail side, there's like multiple different aspects, or like broadly the offline side, that you need to think about. If with the whole like cookie apocalypse, you wanna be able to like shift and have the flexibility or agility in your approach to ramp up and down a channel. the cookie apocalypse that you define, that's one aspect of it. But what COVID or like the last 2 years have taught us is like you have very little certainty in this world. And so you need, if you want to be a business that survives and thrives, you need to have the ability to quickly move from one channel to the other and be there for your audience.
I couldn't agree with you more. Just because we're talking about cookies doesn't mean there is a cookie cutter approach, because there isn't. Obviously, results vary.
Love the
vastly. Yeah, they vary vastly across audiences, across demographics, across geographies, different markets. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with your sentiment there. But yeah, gotta be punny. Take it when you can. Take a bite of any of those jokes if you can. We have enough heavy stuff going on in the world. So yeah, I'll take it. I guess that brings me to another really important topic for, anyone who's tuning in today with us is what shoppers really want from the brands that they're buying from in 2022 onward. At least from my point of view, I think a really big piece of this is sustainability. I believe we're seeing an uptick in conscientious consumers, especially in millennials and Gen Z. I think that this isn't going away anytime soon, at least from where I sit on the agency side across the brands we work with. And I think that's oftentimes something that a lot of brands and businesses are looking for. How can they do better? How can they deliver good? How can they bake sustainability into their model? How can they offset or offer carbon neutral shipping? How can they ensure that their packaging is recycled or recyclable? How can they reduce packaging? All the different things that cumulatively together all make a greater difference. So from my point of view, I think that's probably one of the things that a lot of people are looking for as far as consumers go. What, if anything, do you have to add on that from your point of view?
I agree with you. I think sustainability is really important. In fact, we get direct notes from our community saying, hey, showing willingness that they would be willing to share the cost with us if we have to move to even better practices. And that's one of our priorities in the next 12 months, to move to an even more sustainable supply chain. So 100% agree. The second thing I would say, it's important in today's world to provide an experience such that a consumer can relate to what you're doing with the rest of their lives. It's no longer about an individual product, and especially for food and beverage and consumer products, functionality is really important. It's like nobody wants to just consume calories. It needs to add beyond just calories, or like beyond just like a drink. It needs to have some aspect or some functionality, some benefit. And that's going to be a huge trend. On the first aspect of being an experience and relating it to the rest of their lives, I think the reason why Moment has been so successful in the past few years is because COVID has been difficult. It's been a stressful experience. And one of the key beliefs of Moment is to make it easy for you. It's about literally at a high level, taking a moment to yourself, is to remind your community, it's going to be okay. Just take a moment to take a few deep breaths. And then, of course, adapt it to some new topics in the beverage, help you help do that by certain effects on cortisol levels and your alpha brainwaves. So I think that's going to be this aspect of experience and authenticity, relating it to the rest of your life, and creating experience for your audience is going to be really important.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think we're hearing more and more, in particular in your vertical of food and beverage, about functional foods and beverages. And people are, to your point, even more conscientious about what they are consuming and what they're putting in their bodies. It's not just, to your point, about calories or empty calories or even just taste or enjoyment. It's also about, what is this achieving for me? What is this producing? What is this doing? And how can it make me better? And yeah, I mean, I could not agree more. COVID and the broader pandemic has obviously been really difficult for people across the board in many different ways, and certainly challenging from an emotional wherewithal and resilience standpoint. And I think anything that can help shore up people and give them that thought to take a step back, take a moment, have a breath, and hopefully consume something that makes them feel good and do better, any little boost helps along the way.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be an exciting few years in this space.
So obviously, since we were brought together today by Yotpo, I would be remiss not to talk about loyalty, not just because Yotpo is obviously an incredible partner and our preferred vendor when it comes to loyalty solutions for e-commerce merchants, but also because loyalty is a crux of an ongoing successful relationship with your consumers. You touched upon ROAS, you touched upon the omni-channel. A lot of that comes to how do we acquire new customers and what does CAC look like? Alternatively, on the other side of the coin, we of course have to think about the opposite end of that equation, which is what does LTV or CLTV look like? What does our customer lifetime value look like? And to your point, you don't want this to just be a one-off transactional thing. You want to become a part of people's habits and healthy routines and the moments that make up their lives, as especially a lifestyle brand. And a big part of that is loyalty. So can you tell me a little bit, what, from your point of view and what you've seen with your Moment customers, what makes customers loyal in 2022?
Yeah, I would say that two things become really critical for customers and loyalty. One is having a personable approach to your audience, and Yotpo is actually super helpful there because you get to hear from individual customers how they enjoyed the experience, not of just the product, of the entire purchase journey of their interaction with you as a brand. And you can to have that one-on-one interaction with your customers. But beyond that, on like making it more personal for customers, there's multiple different things that you do along the funnel, which is you don't just send blast messages to your entire audience, right? You like try to understand, hey, different segments of your audience, what do they like, what resonates with them, and you accordingly make it tailored to them. So first of all, you're not spamming them, but secondly, also they'll look out for it when you send them certain something. For example, we have a SMS-based text-based meditation course, but we don't just blast it to everyone. We'll select and we'll make sure that you really want to do it, and then we'll do a customer awareness on adaptogens for like other part of our audience, like really depending on who you are and where you are in your journey on mindfulness. I would say the second point is around identity and being able to relate to your customers. And this comes back to your point on like storytelling, and customers will build loyalty when you can connect what you're doing to their overall life in an authentic way. Those are based on our experiences. What about you, Ashley? Do you have other aspects of customer loyalty that you'd like to share?
I personally love to see the good old test and true refer a friend program. I think it's great to do something a little extra for your existing loyal customers. And it's very natural. And I think it's human nature to sort of spread the good word by word of mouth to friends and family that you care about, that you want to share an amazing product or service with. So I think that works really well because it fundamentally ties back to how we generally already function as humans. I also love a lot of what I've seen more recently is sort of rewarding your most loyal customers with exclusive product drops or early access to perhaps a new product line, or in this case, perhaps a flavor or what have you. I think that's another fun way to engage different segments of your audience and also thank them, for being a customer and a supporter.
Those are great. Those are very good additions. Okay, so last question, because I know you're big into blockchain and NFTs, and there's been a lot of talk around the block on NFTs. So tell us a little bit more about it. Is this just a blip? Is it going to be huge in the future? What should brands be doing in today's world to jump on this trend, or would you suggest just holding off on it?
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, it's great to get in early and often, especially in a new industry, especially to ride the wave of popularity. I would say perhaps it's a bit fad-like right now because it's perhaps finally reached that tipping point of mass adoption and even mass awareness. I think we're seeing crypto and blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology being leveraged more broadly across the board. I do think it is the future. It is the way forward. I think Web3 in general is what everyone will be striving towards. I think we even notice these trends across bigger players in the technology space in Silicon Valley, like Facebook's rebrand with Meta and their investments in the metaverse, for example, and bringing those experiences to people. I think NFTs are a great way, especially for brands and businesses, especially that have a product, to also go virtual and capitalize and create that digital brand and digital presence as well. And I mean, I, for one, just can't wait to get into the fabulous Flamingo Club. So I am waiting for the day that I can get in and get a fabulous Flamingo NFT. So hopefully soon. Yeah, that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Awesome. And so my last question to you would be, so what should brands very tactically do if they have to do one thing to start building on this, building or entering this NFT world?
Well, first and foremost, it is obviously a little bit tricky from a tech perspective. And a lot of brands and businesses might not have the appropriate team or engineers in-house in order to create and deliver excellent digital products. So they might want to consider working with, an agency partner of record that can provide this as a service, as an NFT integrator or creator. So that's definitely something. And I, being on the agency side, I would be remiss not to recommend hopefully working with an agency like Hawk Media or others. But generally speaking, think about how it can be additive and how it can be another way and another channel to add to that omni-channel and omnipresence for your brand and your brand voice. That's the other thing too. Just because it's a foray in a brave new digital virtual world doesn't mean you want there to be any inconsistency in your brand, your guidelines, your imagery, your voice, your colors, etc. So you're going to, again, want to ensure, just like you would with any other channel or avenue, that you have consistency across the board with the brand that you've obviously so carefully crafted, that you're bringing it authentically, hopefully, into the metaverse.
Beautiful. Love it. What great advice.
Yeah, of course. This was such a pleasure. It was so nice chatting with you. And I really can't wait to see what 2022 brings for Moment.
Well, the first thing it's brought is like Moment of Miami, our latest flavor releases. So definitely go try it. But yeah, really excited about it and really excited about our amazing partners like Hawk Media and Yotpo that are allowing us to expand our brand and build awareness.
I'm seeing lychee. Can you tell us a little bit more, teaser about what some of the flavors are in your new product line?
Yeah, so we actually worked with the city of Miami to bring Miami-inspired flavors to the rest of the country. And so we went deep into the culture and we created 2 new flavors. One is spiced mango, and then the other is lychee mint, or lychee mint, however you might want to pronounce it. And those are both fruits and flavors that are very typical to Miami in the afternoons or the evenings as a drink. And we brought them in a non-alcoholic, all-natural way with adaptogens so that you can enjoy Miami sitting wherever you are.
Awesome. I love that. So cheers to the Miami products and to Moment.
Thank you, Ashley. It was so lovely chatting and really excited to see where you take things with Hawk Media as well.
Thank you, Aisha and Ashley. And next up, we're going to hear from Julie Matthews, founder at Flora and Fauna and one of our honorees located in Australia. She'll be interviewed by Carmel Zian, Senior Marketing Manager at Yotpo, about why it's so important to have a community like AWIE Down Under. Take it away, Carmel.
Thanks, Ariel, and hello everyone. We're very excited to be joining you from sunny Sydney. I am so excited to have with us today Julie Matthews, who's the founder of Flora and Fauna and one of our nominees for AWIE 2022. My name is Carmel. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager for Yotpo Australia. We've recently launched an Australian team in Australia, and we're super excited to be championing AWIE here in Australia as well. Thank you so much once again for joining us today.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks so much for having me and for being a nominee as well.
Yeah,
Very exciting.
Yeah, congratulations. So firstly, obviously we're all very excited that AWIE has now launched in Australia. Do you think that, obviously you're a strong player in our industry, a powerful woman and founder in e-com, do you think that there was a need for a sort of organisation like this in Australia?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I think there's been such a need for such a long time. We, as women, we're pretty bad at self-promoting, and sometimes we need a bit of help to do that, and we need something to really bring us together, act as that gel, and also help us lift each other up too. Because I think we don't lift ourselves up enough. We don't lift each other up enough, and we also need men to lift us up too.
Exactly.
We need kind of everyone to get their hands around this,
Yeah.
and know that you know, there are some amazing women leaders out there. So let's showcase them and show what us women can do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you were there at our launch event in December last year.
Good.
And it was just, the energy was amazing, and you could just tell that the women were like, yes, this is what we needed, just celebrating each other. The fact that we can all nominate each other as well, men can nominate, competitors are nominating each other, I think it was just a really beautiful vibe.
Oh, it was such a good, well done on that event. It was a very good event. And it was an amazing vibe, and I had such brilliant conversations. And I could have stayed, I think everyone could have stayed there for hours and hours just talking to each other. But you really do share all sorts of stories, the successes, the war stories, all the different types. And it is great to also, I think, know that you're not alone, because sometimes as a founder, it can feel a bit lonely.
Yeah, of course.
So this is a really great community to be part of.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're glad you're a part of it. So you were nominated as an innovator as well as a founder. What does that mean to you to be both an innovator and a founder?
It's, you know what, it's really interesting, because I was thinking about this. For the last 7-8 years, I founded Flora and Fauna, and for 16 years before that, I was in corporate life. And it was a very it was just a different transition for me. It wasn't difficult, it was just a different transition where I had to kind of almost shake off the shackles a little bit. And what I found was that it really helped me open up my creative brain. And suddenly I felt ridiculously empowered, and like I could, I liken it to, have you seen the film Big? This is when I show my age.
I'll just say yes.
Yes, just say yes. It's quite an old film. It's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah.
It's with Tom Hanks, and he's basically a 13-year-old kid, and gets transformed into a big body. And he's there in this, he works for a toy company, and he's just there coming up with these wild ideas, because he's a kid, and he doesn't have any blinkers or boundaries or any of that sort of stuff. And I liken it a little bit to that, in the fact that the boundaries have gone. I don't have boundaries. I just see, and I don't see problems, I just see solutions. And with that comes innovation. And I think when you have the power of that plus your own business, it's really, really powerful, because you can, and this is what I've found, just talking from my experience, but I go, there's a problem, and that's the solution to fix it. This is where Tom's brilliant for me too, because he's such a good, we bounce off each other quite a lot. And I'll go, there's the solution, and let's go find it and fix it. And I've been able to do that through the power of having Flora and Fauna. So I've loved it, and I think it's such a good thing to be able to really put your creative brain to use.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And I've kind of seen the evolution of Flora and Fauna as well along the journey, and hats off to you, because you've been so hands-on throughout the whole process. And the fact that you had the ability to keep that innovation within you and continue to be inspired, like, very admirable. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Keep your brand close. I think that's really, and I think one of the really important things is listen. Listen. Listen to your customers, listen to your team, listen to your community, and that helps really inspire you and sort of feeds your innovation too.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously it's not easy. So can you share with us some of the challenges that come with it for being a founder?
Yeah, no, it is definitely not all roses.
Yeah.
There are heaps of challenges along the way. I think one of the things that I found is brilliant. Like, I love this journey, but it is very stressful. And some of the things that you face are, basically financial risk, if you like.
Yeah.
When I started Flora and Fauna, we had no investment at any point until the point where we fully exited. And so you put everything on the line. And I know people who have sold their houses to fund a business. That pressure on you is quite immense, and each month you're going, right, cash flow. Well, you look at it daily, like multiple times a day. And for quite a few years, Tom and I didn't pay ourselves salaries. So, and it was all planned in doing that, but there is a level of pressure and stress that is on you. So that's definitely one of the challenges that we face, because it's so personal, because you're thinking, I don't want to, you don't want to lose your house. It's a risk.
Yeah.
You're also putting your head above the parapet a bit, and you're being that tall poppy and going, hey, I'm doing something. And there is, and you're exposing yourself somewhat, because that may not work. And loads and loads of businesses don't work. And I think it's easier in America, where you're almost expected to fail multiple times before you have a success, but it's not the same here.
Yeah.
So you are putting yourself out there a little bit, and that's and that comes with its challenges, where you can sort of beat yourself up a little bit, and I think you've got to be very, very conscious of your own mental well-being throughout this journey. And I have always given myself a lot of self-talk. I'm really self-aware of who I am, but that's definitely a challenge. The fact that it is all-consuming, to your point earlier, hands-on. Oh gosh, we've not had a holiday in 8 years.
Yeah, crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. We took Christmas Day off this year, and I was there going,
One
this
day.
is amazing. This is amazing to Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And it does, and most of the time you don't really mind, actually.
Yeah.
But I've had, when we started FNF, I didn't have children, and I have 2 beautiful baby boys, and I had them, the first one was emergency C-section and early.
Yeah.
And as I was, and this is the reality of what you do, as I was being rolled into the wall, I was on the laptop, just going, I've got to change meetings. And I can remember the nurse saying to me, could you tell your work that you need to not do this anymore, and can someone else take it? And I said, well, no, because it's me.
Yeah.
And at the point when I had them, we were very much in the high growth phase, where it was all hands on deck. It's quite different now in the fact that I've got a really great team in place, and I'm doing less of the doing. But at the point, it was just like we were growing sort of crazy percents year on year. And I'm like, there's no one to do this. And that's the reality of it. And within a few hours of having Woody, my first, I was working again. So it really does, it is what it is. I don't really mind one bit, but it does impact on you. It becomes all consuming.
Totally.
That's probably the biggest challenge. And I know people who've gone, oh my gosh, I don't want it to be all consuming. And then so it's probably, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because it's your world.
Exactly. And I remember when you gave birth to Woody, you also were named top 1 in top 50 e-commerce. So what an eventful few days that was for you.
It was really crazy, because I was in, I think when that happened, Woody was 2 days old. And he was in special care. And I was still in hospital days and very confused. And I think it was Wayne Baskin actually who messaged me and went, congratulations or something like that. I'm like, what's going on? And he went, you've just been named one. I went, what?
So good.
And it was really, but it was a bit of a crazy time. It never stops. It never stops.
I feel you. So obviously with all of these wheels in motion, everything happening, how do you manage to keep the innovation alive? Like how does innovation express itself day to day? How do you foster it?
I think I've adapted something which is just my go-to now, which is look for solutions.
Yeah.
So and that's my big sort of, that's just how I operate, and I just do it.
Yeah.
I don't even think anymore. And for me, it's really helped with my whole mindset, because it results in me just thinking very positively about everything, really. It's kind of that glass half full, because you go, no, I don't see a problem, I just see the solution to fix it. Now, it might be blue sky stuff. This is where Tom's brilliant, because he helps bring it down to reality.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we should do this. He's like, oh my God. What is she doing now?
Yeah.
But it can be really small things. I remember years ago, and this was years ago, we used to put a handwritten, well, we've done it since day one, we put a handwritten note in every order.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then we went to minimal packaging, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to use the card to put the note in. So it's like, write it on the inside lid of the box. So it can be really simple stuff. It doesn't need to be this huge, innovative project and what have you. It's just, there is a small problem. What can I do as a solution to fix it? And yeah, it doesn't need to be crazy out there innovation. It is just everyday things that you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do think it's really helped with my, just in thinking like that, just my mindset, because I just approach things in a different way.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And obviously one of the biggest innovations or things that Flora and Fauna have been championing is sustainability.
Yes.
So can you just talk to us a little bit about that and the thought process that went behind that?
Yeah. Gosh, when I started FNF, so we started FNF to be a place where you could find cruelty-free beauty.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely started with purpose. And I just went, there's got to be a better place there's got to be one place where you can find all your beauty, and you know it's not tested on animals. And since that point, we've really grown into our purpose, and that's something I'm very, very passionate about. I love our purpose and I love our values, and I talk about our values every single day. I don't think there's one conversation when I don't talk about our values.
Yeah.
And I remember in someone's performance review yesterday that I did, I was like, and we've got to remember that we're transparent and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And it just comes up in every single conversation, which is great, because then it comes up in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, we've kind of lent into our purpose even more. So we went from being this cruelty-free beauty store to being Australia's largest eco store. And that was me just going, there has to be better choices, and that's beyond beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, I can remember once going, because a lot of beauty still comes in plastic. There are a lot more options now, but a lot of it still does. So it's like, well, we're sending this plastic packaging out into the world, but we're expecting our customers to find a solution to deal with it. And we know that there actually aren't any solutions, because the government doesn't have any solutions. So I said, well, we've got to find a better way. This was in 2017, and this is when we developed the recycling scheme, where our customers could send back their beauty products to us, and not just our brands, but any old brands.
Yeah.
And we would get them recycled, and they earn money for sending them back.
Yeah.
And so that's been going 5 years. The amount of stuff, when we started, we would receive like 1 box a month.
Yeah.
We send out pallets of the stuff now.
Amazing.
It's incredible, and that's just grown from, there's a problem.
Yeah.
What's the solution?
Yeah.
And with that, over the years, we've become B Corp certified. Big fan of B Corp, and that's really helped us go, well, what other problems do we need to solve? So yeah, sustainability is so important to us.
Yeah.
And it's even to the point of, gosh, the products we sell, it just goes through our business.
Yeah. No, it's so good when you live and breathe it. It's obviously always top of mind, and it just kind of natural and organically presents itself, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So Yotpo just did like a global survey, and we surveyed shoppers, and overwhelming response said that customers want to shop from brands with similar values to them. So we know that it's really important, and obviously we see it increasing. How do you think that e-commerce brands now are starting to embrace value-driven branding?
I think it's I think you see it all the time. I'm seeing more and more brands looking at things like net impact and what are the values, what is the purpose, and you can see it happening where it's like Allbirds, where it is just through what, I mean, I love Allbirds, it's just through what they do.
Yeah.
Such an impressive business. And then you'll see other businesses who are going, oh, we'll do a little bit here, and they're putting their toe in the water. And I think what's really good is it is important to the customer, and it's important to that younger customer. And if you want to talk to the younger customer, you have to talk about values and purpose. It's I think a few years back when we started talking about it, it was very new. Now it's really like, why aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think customers will get to the point where they go, well, this company doesn't talk about their values, so that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
I think the challenge we will face is making sure that the brands are talking about them authentically, and it's not just greenwashing.
Exactly.
That's the danger when there's so much of this happening, that there is therefore just a lot of greenwash happening. And on the one hand, they're doing this initiative, but here they're doing something completely different, which can happen with a lot of bigger businesses.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's really good. It's really good because it is making us all think of different solutions and different ways that we can operate as a business. And I've really enjoyed. I sort of look at Flora & Fauna and go, well, we've built a better business.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's not perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's better.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can showcase that you can have better businesses and they can be profitable and purpose driven, and the two can sort of go hand in hand without having one and not the other.
Exactly. And you've done that really well with the business. So
Thank you.
It's awesome. So you've recently announced some really big news about Flora & Fauna and your role within it.
Yes.
Can you tell us, if you're able to, what's next? What's next? And are you going to stay within the whole sustainability arena?
Yeah, so the news that I announced, so we sold Flora & Fauna in July last year.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was such, I have to say, for anyone who's ever going to go through a transition process in terms of where is the end of your business, it is such an emotional process to go through. My gosh. And a really difficult decision to decide to sell it, but yes, we did.
Yeah.
And I made the decision in November to exit from Flora & Fauna and the company that bought us, and just realised that not for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, gotta make the right decisions for me.
Yeah.
So, I am leaving end of Feb, which is scary, but I've got myself into a really great place with that at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for Flora & Fauna and what's coming into Flora & Fauna, and I'm excited about having a bit of a new journey myself too. So I'm going to take March off.
Yeah.
I have to decompress, and I've also promised my husband and
the kids.
We've got it. And the kids.
Time,
the kids. I've got to have a month with the kids.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be taking March off, and then I am going to be doing something else. I'm really excited about it. It is in the it's a purposeful. It's in e-com. It's in e-com.
Nice.
And it's products I love, and absolutely purpose driven. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. That's giving you nothing.
That's nothing, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Keeping me on edge.
But it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'll be keeping my eye out. I'll be messaging you every week to see if you're allowed to tell me yet. Yeah.
Say it.
Yes, exactly. But seriously, all the best. I have no doubt that it's going to be amazing. Congratulations with everything, all the success of Flora & Fauna, and yeah, excited to see what's next. Thank you so much, and congratulations on being a nominee with AWIE, and welcome to our community.
Oh, thank you for having me.
That's my pleasure. Thank you, and we're back over to you, Ariel.
Thank you, Carmel and Julie. And last but certainly not least, we're going to hear from our honorees over in England to learn more about the journey to becoming a founder and leader in e-commerce. Please welcome Craney Insalata, CEO at Bobo Beauty, and Roxanne Goldfinch, Global Chief of Staff at Astound Commerce. Over to you, ladies.
Thanks, Ariel, and hello, everyone. I'm Roxanne Goldfinch, Global Chief of Staff at Astound Commerce, and here with me is Craney Insalata, the CEO of Bobo Beauty. Hey, Craney, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Hi, Roxy. Thank you very much for the introduction. Can I call you Roxy?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Most
That's
people
great.
do.
Great. Yeah, no, I'm very, very happy to be here and a little bit surprised to be nominated, but I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, so we're both 2022 honorees, and you're nominated in the Innovator category. How does that feel to be labeled in that way?
To be honest, I think, after 18 months of hard work and being nominated as an innovator within a category that actually isn't known really for innovation. I mean, we're talking about makeup brushes. And ours is about skin health. We've designed a brush which is meant for people with sensitive skin. So no, it feels great and kind of validated. We feel like we've proven a point that there is some innovation to be had within this category.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing.
Yeah. And what about you? I mean, you've been nominated for the leader category. And forgive me for being an ageist, but you seem to be quite young with a very, very big title.
Yeah, I was kind of as surprised as you are, to be honest. I knew there was like thousands of nominations across all different categories. So I'm very humbled and excited to represent women in leadership with this Yotpo award. Really exciting. And thanks to the people who nominated me as well.
Oh, that sounds amazing. So you're currently the chief of staff for a global digital agency. What does that mean? Is it sort of HR? I mean, is it like the White House type chief of staff?
Yeah, not quite, but yeah, I get that a lot. So originally, it was based in the military or with the president's chief of staff, but it's transitioned into business, predominantly in the US, but it is a growing role in Europe and the rest of the world as well. So it's still quite ambiguous. So you could be doing something different every day. But my core responsibility is about supporting our global CEO and our senior leadership team as well. And that is anything and everything that can push us forward to our North Star and achieving our strategic objectives. So that could be operationalizing our strategy, making sure that our team of 1,600 people globally are aware and aligned with those goals and are all moving in the same direction. And it can also be something a bit more left field, like our sustainability agenda and owning and driving that forward. So it's really varied, but a lot of opportunity to learn and develop, which is what I love doing.
So how long have you been doing it, and how has been your journey? I mean, how did you get to this point of landing such a meaty role?
Yeah, so I've been in it since around about October time, so I'm still relatively fresh. But I've been at Astound for the past 2 years, so predominantly in partnerships, so built out their partner program and then moved into strategic initiatives where I brought a new service offering to market. This was called Ignite. It was about kind of leveling up how we engage with our clients and making sure they get more ROI from every engagement we do with them. And it kind of gave me a good base for the chief of staff role, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, doing things that you don't really know how to do and trying to do them well at the same time. So yeah, when this role came up, I wasn't gonna turn it down.
Yeah. Well, it sounds great. Absolutely great.
And in terms of your brand, Quiney, you've recently launched a new product. Why makeup brushes? What's your journey there?
I think I've always had a fascination with makeup brushes. I just think, since I was little, I used to, see my mom applying her makeup with makeup brushes. But actually, as I gotten older and using makeup, I unfortunately suffer from sometimes really horrendous psoriasis on my face. And I really spent ages just trying to find like beautiful brushes that I can use for my sensitive skin. And it just occurred to me that I really, regardless of the price, whatever price point, I was still getting brushes that were, after 6 months of use, they are terrible. They're really hard on your skin, and I had no choice but to, throw them away. So that's how it started. And I think 18 months ago, especially at the height of the pandemic, I just felt that I needed to really make this into a reality. So we just started working and designed the brush that we wanted as a flagship product, really, because we're not necessarily just about makeup brushes, but we're more of a skincare company. That's how we want to position ourselves, and these brushes are sort of our flagship product. So yeah, it's been a really, you know, fascinating journey, exhilarating, ups and downs, and of course, like moments like this, it's giving us that validation and acknowledgement that it's worth fighting for. As you obviously can understand, you know, yeah, you know, and also we launched right at the height of the pandemic when no one was wearing makeup. And we're launching these really beautiful brushes. Nobody was we're all staying at home in our tracksuits. So it's been, you know, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. And even with all my years of experience, you know, I actually have over 15 years experience of working in branding. But when it comes to working for your own brand and creating your own brand, it's like having a baby, really. But it's been fun, really, really fun.
Amazing. Yeah. And what's your business model? How does that work for you?
So I think we're just predominantly we're direct to consumer, and we're growing. And in fact, I'm actually really interested in some of the things that you do and things that you talked about. We want to be like a data-driven beauty company, wanting to understand the, you know, behaviors of our consumers, what they're looking for. And especially what we've noticed that, you know, when consumers wanting to buy the brushes, they have no idea what kind of brush, you know, what does it do? So we want to educate them, and we really want to use tech, you know, on our platforms. So that's sort of, you know, a priority number one. But of course, to gain a lot more credibility, we need to be in retailers. We need to be in the likes of John Lewis and, you know, beauty platforms. So we work on that once we gather enough traction. Yeah. So it's been
amazing. Yeah. I mean, from our side, we obviously support a lot of beauty and cosmeceutical brands, both D2C and multi-channel as well. And again, similar to you, we've seen an uptick since COVID, and that bounced back since the pandemic when everyone was stuck at home. And the D2C model is really exciting because it allows you as your brand to really take ownership of your messaging and your product messaging, and to communicate that to drive brand loyalty with customers. And there's a lot more ownership there than in other models.
Yeah, I agree. What are you seeing as a trend? Sorry to interrupt. What are you seeing as a trend?
We're on the same page. So the other thing that we're seeing, which you actually touched upon, is around, you know, consumers want to know where their customers come from, what they're made of. So whether that's just from a sustainability point of view, ethically sourced, or backed data. And I think from what I understand about, you know, your brushes is that, you know, you've had them tested in labs, they're backed by data, and they can last a lifetime. So I think you've got the authenticity that's there. It's just about harnessing that and making sure that your consumers really know that and take that in.
Yes, I mean, you've touched on a very, very important point. I mean, as a brand owner, of course, we've got a very strong provenance story. They're handcrafted in Italy in small batches. They are velvet. They're easy to wash. As you said, you know, they're investment pieces, really. But yeah, I mean, we are working really hard in creating relationships, like almost really personal relationships with our potential customers. But I think for us, we recognize that as much as we can do the organic growth, we really need some sort of like an engine behind us that helps us to really drive home all of the various elements of our brand story that we want to tell. So
I think one of our clients, Revolution Beauty, has done that really well, actually in partnership with Yotpo. So they created a strategy again to build out their D2C side of their business. They were already in store and doing very well in those stores. And again, it was using the kind of word of mouth that you're already doing right now, but on aggregate times X, right? So you can use rewards, you can collect that social feedback to have that connectivity and that feel.
Yeah.
And then again, drive repeat purchases and a bigger customer base off the back
That's
of that.
That's the biggest challenge, I think. I wanted to actually just find out more about your career. What kind of advice would you give? Because you've done very, very well, and it's really inspiring to be sharing the panel with you. But I was just wondering what kind of advice you would give to some of the people that want to be, to work in tech and do what you're doing.
Yeah, so 2 words really, just don't settle. Don't settle anything that you're doing. Constantly look for opportunities where you can challenge yourself and explore and develop. And, there's going to be obstacles, whether that's your own self-doubt or internal self-belief or external factors, but you shouldn't look for those to hinder you or to hold you back. Ultimately, if you focus on what you can control and continue to challenge and push yourself, the progress will follow. You'll continue to progress.
Wow, that's wonderful advice, even for myself. And I would.
What about you?
Well, I think you've touched upon, the fact that, don't be fearful, and if you can control what you can control, then do that very well. I think what I'm finding is, like, as we are raising funds for Bobu, and mostly I can see there's such a big difference between how we women and females present their businesses. Some of them are really, really amazing, but then we're presenting it with a kind of a little bit of a self-doubt, and it comes across. And it's something that I'm also actually learning to say, well, you know what, I have worked really, really hard, and I actually have a proven concept. I'm not at an idea stage. I've actually tested the product. It's right out there in the market, and just owning my own story. And I think I would love to see a lot more women doing that kind of, especially when it comes to investment. And I've been, pitching, and mostly it's just young guys with an idea, but so confident about the idea.
Yeah.
And then we have the product, and I'm completely not confident about what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're almost apologizing to be there,
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I'm presenting my idea.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And I have had to remind myself that actually, Criney, these are the people that are presenting to the same investors. They're talking about potentially creating something, but I have an idea that's been tested. It's right there. I have revenue. I've got, testimonials and credence and support and followers. So what is the problem? So I guess the advice you've just given is something that I need to hear, and is the advice that I would also give to anybody else, really. So yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Look, it's been absolutely fantastic talking and getting to know you, Criney. And I can speak for the both of us that we're so excited to be part of this Amazing Women in E-commerce award and program. So I think with that, we will say goodbye. But anyone out there who wants to reach out to either one of us with any questions, please do.
Please do. It's Bobu Beauty, by the way. So it's great to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Criney and Roxanne. And thank you to all of our amazing speakers and attendees for joining us today for this wonderful event. But a special thank you to Yotpo and our event partners, Shogun, Adroll, Visual and Verbal, and the Maze Group. We will, of course, be sending out a full recording of today's event via email, so stay tuned for that. We'll also be sending out an email asking you to rate today's event, to share your feedback. We would greatly appreciate if you take a few minutes to fill it out so we can create the best programming possible for future events. And remember, if you want to continue the conversation online, please join us at our AWIE community on Slack. Visit womeninecommerce.com to find the link to join. So that was womeninecom.com to join. Thank you again, and see you at our next event.